Positive Spin. Presenting
Positive News.
Positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world.
When I speak, it is from a place of justice, not only for Black people whose
On
rights
today's
have been
program, we'll
violated,
profile Francia Marquez, an environmental activist from Colombia and recipient of the 2018 Goldman Environmental Prize.
Her way through the UN High Commission for Human Rights.
Today we know that how the number of child laborers has decreased from more than 250 million to 152 million.
And we'll learn about the United Nations program to combat the tragedy of child labor around the world through education and training.
Help stop the development of nuclear weapons, armed nuclear submarines, advanced drone technology.
Then we'll view the video presentation, Nuclear Terror in Hawaii, produced by the Nuclear Terror Today organization.
And the huge budget increases they require.
And they'll tell them that's not what shalom means. Shalom means, from the Hebrew word shalem, whole, harmony. Because the biggest blessing.
Following that, we'll visit the annual Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony in Palm Desert, California.
We're observing.
Francia Marquez is an environmental activist and recipient of the 2018 Goldman Environmental Prize. As a leader of the Afro-Colombian community, she organized the women of Latama and stopped illegal gold mining on their ancestral lands. Francia exerted pressure on the Colombian government and spearheaded a 10-day, 350-mile march of 80 women to the nation's capital. This resulted in the removal of all illegal miners and equipment from her community.
The isolated village of Latoma is comprised mostly of descendants of Africans who were forced into slavery centuries ago. They've maintained a fiercely independent living here by farming and by panning for gold in the Ovejas River.
we as a people came to have lands that were fought for by our ancestors. We have been in this territory as a Black community since 1636. I grew up along the shore of the Ovejas River, swimming, fishing, mining. The river was everything to me.
Francia Marquez began fighting for her community as a teenager. In her 20s, as a single mother of two, she found herself in the middle of a campaign to stop the government from evicting the people of Latoma from their homes, to make way for mining and agricultural development.
In the name of development, most of the rivers in this territory are poisoned with mercury and cyanide. Fish that are caught here rot in half an hour because the fish is already heavily contaminated. I decided I had to study law to be able to better defend the rights of my community. I had a lot of trouble paying for college, but I decided that academia can't just be for people who have the financial means.
Francia's education was abruptly interrupted when dozens of illegal backhoes began tearing up the mountainside, scouring for gold in the hills surrounding the village.
I was just a mining woman, and I didn't understand the legal language. I didn't know what a right to petition was or a writ to protect constitutional rights, but I believed that having gone to college allowed me to acquire knowledge and information that I didn't have before.
Francia organized the women of Latoma to march 350 miles to Bogota to protest the mining. Many of the women had never left their mountain homes, but they were inspired by Francia's courage. 80 women marched for 10 days and then camped outside Congress until they were invited to a meeting with the Vice Minister of the Interior.
When I speak, it is from a place of justice, not only for Black people whose rights have been violated, but also for indigenous communities, women, and nature itself.
Francia navigated her way through the UN High Commission for Human Rights, Colombia's High Court and Congress, until the government finally agreed to banish the illegal mining operations from La Toma. When the illegal miners didn't obey the government's order to remove the backhoes, security forces were sent in to destroy the heavy equipment. The price for Francia was high. Her every move now is taken under careful supervision of armed security guards.
I have lived here all my life, until 3 years ago when I had to leave because of threats against me and my family. But this is my land, and I love it and its people with all my heart. This fight has not only been mine, but it has been the entire community's fight. I was the one who gave it a voice, and sometimes I went out and gave it a face. But we have done all of this together.
For outstanding environmental achievement for Central and South America, the 2018 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Francia Marquez, La Toma, Colombia.
Child labor is an international tragedy affecting 152 million children throughout the world. In its fight against child labor, the United Nations International Labor Organization has initiated a program with labor inspectors going into villages to locate children in forced labor and provide them with education and training.
Naitwa Françoise, miaka 14. Tunasomba michanga. Viko kilo sana na fasi tukapeleka nyumbani. Tualamuka na 4h30. Tunamaliza na 8h juste. Tunaanza na 16h, tunamaliza na 19h. Nilikuwa naishi bien na nilikuwa naenda kwa masomo. Baada ya kutumika je kupata makuta kuemea.
Huko na manga huku. Mwaje.
I understood through my fight against child labor in India and South Asia that it is not an isolated problem of one or another country. It has to be tackled globally. So on one hand, we have to build a strong social movement, but on the other hand, we have to have strong laws.
Elle a peur de répercussions d'après, du coup, elle ne donne pas les vraies informations sur sa situation réelle. Du coup, on ne fait que inciter l'enfant à connaître ses droits et inciter l'employeur à respecter la loi.
Nasikia huzuni sana, hata haina mazuri, mabaya. Siko naona ni kazi nguvu sana. Si wote tunasemaka, liko kilo, tunachoka. Na hata tuache kazi ya mchanga, tuache kusoma.
Today we know that how the number of child laborers has decreased from more than 250 million to 152 million. We have also seen that larger number of children were able to go to schools. We have also seen progress in restoring child rights and human rights in many countries during these 20 years. So a lot of has been achieved, but it is not enough. If the world can reach out to Mars, why can't we reach out to every single child who is in danger?
Nuclear Terror Today is an organization working for a world where nuclear weapons are not a constant looming threat. A world where national governmental representatives work together to prevent the death of 99% of human life, which would result from a nuclear disaster. The organization's campaign asks people to take the pledge that will be presented to their governmental representatives. Take the pledge at www.nuclearterrortoday.org.
It was January 13th, 2018 at 8:20 a.m. At first, everyone said, "What? There must be some kind of mistake." But the message kept being repeated, and then it was panic. What do I do? Where do I go? What can I do to protect my family? Some people went to the extreme of putting their children in manholes. Others drove at high rates of speed to make it to their loved ones. It took 38 minutes for over 1 million citizens of Hawaii to discover this was a big mistake. Unfortunately, the Hawaii missile scare is an example of the way things are, instead of the way we want them to be. As it turns out, it was a big mistake by one individual. Many believe nuclear war is a Cold War remnant and is not a global priority in today's computer-centric economy. Nothing could be further from the truth. The continuous development of nuclear weapons technology brings us closer and closer to either a nuclear mistake or a sneak attack type of Armageddon. The United States alone, just the United States, has enough nuclear submarines with enough nuclear missiles to create nuclear winter and kill 99% of all human life. What the hell is nuclear winter? The short explanation for nuclear winter is that smoke from nuclear firestorms caused by war block 70% of the sun for a decade. This leads to survivors dying, livestock dying or being contaminated, and crop harvests dying throughout the world for a decade. We believe the solution is for all nuclear weapons nations to commit to no first nuclear weapons attack, taking ICBM missiles off hair trigger alert, and create nuclear weapons and space treaties with unannounced inspections. Help stop the development of nuclear weapons, armed nuclear submarines, advanced drone technology, artificial intelligence, and politicians who continue to vote for more and more and more nuclear weapons and the huge budget increases they require. Some senior members of the current United States administration have been advocating for preemptive or decapitation attacks on perceived enemies for many years. Don't despair. Miracles have occurred in the past. Miracles such as no longer testing nuclear weapons in the atmosphere or the oceans. Miracles such as where one man stood in the way of launching nuclear weapons, over a mistake. Miracles such as the fall of the Berlin Wall, and miracles such as the end of apartheid in South Africa with the election of President Nelson Mandela. Join with us in creating today's miracle for this and all future generations. Go to our website for more information in depth regarding the ever-increasing threat nuclear weapons pose to all of us. Go to www.nuclearterrortoday.org. Sign the pledge, and please pass it on to 10 more people.
International Holocaust Remembrance Day is a day to listen to the words of the survivors and educate the public about the need to stay vigilant in confronting anti-Semitism and all other forms of hatred and intolerance. Positive Spin recently covered the International Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony in Palm Desert, California.
Pripyatchik brennt a fire und in Stub is heiß und der Rebellen kleiner Kinder lacht dem Aleph Beis und der Rebellen kleiner.
The Holocaust during World War II was one of the darkest periods in human history, with 6 million Jews being exterminated, along with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people, gypsies, and other minority groups. Colored symbols identified the various communities to be exterminated. Each year on World Holocaust Day, the world stands together to state in one strong voice, never again.
In the fireplace, a small fire burns and the house is warm. And the rabbi learns.
The United Nations General Assembly designated January 27th, the day that the Auschwitz concentration camp was liberated, as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. This day set aside each year to remember the Holocaust's many victims, celebrate those who survived, and to remind us to never forget. As we go about our daily lives, it's vitally important that we remind ourselves of the monstrous acts and the ideologies that became possible when individuals, groups, and nations forget that we are all members of the same human family.
One thing we have learned, when people do speak out against inhumane behavior, leaders or world opinions are also very important factors to stop genocide. Why teach the Holocaust? Holocaust is not just a history of victims, nor is the Holocaust just history of perpetrators. Many genocides have occurred in Armenia, Cambodia, Rwanda, now in Syria. So why focus on the Holocaust? Because it is the best documented tragedy of records captured from the Nazis, and the Nuremberg trials prove the evidence presented as facts. There's no instance in history where a national government developed, attempted to carry out a policy to murder entire people without exception, solely on the basis of their biological ancestry. I used to tell my younger brother, who lay right next to me, not to give up, because if we survive, everyone will love us, because we may be the only Jews to survive. In my city of Brody in Poland, that had 10,000 Jews before the war, when we were liberated, there were just 88 of us that survived. We cannot allow our world to travel the same road that it did 80 years ago. We must eradicate anti-Semitism in all of its forms. Repeat, in all of its forms. and all its manifestation. This must be our goal. We must continue to learn from the Holocaust and its history and inspire all the people to act on them. On this commemoration, 80 years after Kristallnacht, let us say, never again, never again.
Being that history is not what we're about the future. We're about taking each day at a time and making a difference and transforming the world that you and I live in into a world of harmony, of understanding, of cooperation, of tolerance for all of God's children, his animals, his plants, and his inanimate objects, because it's all about harmony. The one Hebrew word that everybody here, if you know one Hebrew word, that everybody knows, is shalom. And shalom, if you ask the average Jew in the street what shalom means, he'll tell you. Hello, goodbye, and peace. And I argue with my students. I play birthright tour guide 5 times a year in Israel. I just got back from a counter-terror program 2 weeks ago. And they'll tell them that's not what shalom means. Shalom means, from the Hebrew word shalem, whole, harmony. Because the biggest blessing that you can give another human being, either in greeting them or departing from them, is they shouldn't be fractionalized. We're observing the Holocaust today, not because we pity what happened, but because we resolve to make a difference and bring harmony and wholeness to the world.
Thank you for watching Positive Spin. This show is made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Wright Foundation. Watch us on Free Speech TV. Watch and subscribe to our previous episodes on YouTube, and please like us on Facebook. I'm Bill McCarthy. Now it's your turn. Inspire, empower your community, create your own positive news.